it. My garden's a secret compartment, and that's the way I like it, and that's the way I like it. Your body's a dream that turns violent, and that's the way I like it, and that's the way I like it. The winter is long.
TBTL is the best. Power out.
From an undisclosed location in quarantine, it's the TBTL Talent Show featuring flips, flops, triumphs, and even tragedies. And that's just going to be the hosting from me and Andrew. Hey, everybody. I'm your host, Luke Burbank. Speaking of my friend Andrew, he's right over there, the longest-running co-bro of the show. Dressed like a farmer, even though it's after 6 p.m. Hello, my blue-collar friend.
I was actually concerned, Luke. I thought that maybe I had overdressed for this. You know, I'm a man of the people. I'm not living up in some ivory castle or whatever you're... It's an ivory castle, right? I got that right? Yeah.
Yes. Good. I have been looking at ivory castles on Redfin, and honestly, there's some good deals out there.
Yeah.
How you feeling, my friend? This is the closest thing we've ever done to a live television broadcast, even though this is happening on the internet.
You tell me how I'm doing. We shook hands before the show, and I believe you walked away with a much wetter palm than you started that handshake with.
I actually had to change tuxedos. I had a completely different one. This one's neoprene. I can use it for scuba diving and shaking hands with Andrew when we're doing live television type events. No, this is going to be really fun tonight. This is exciting for a number of reasons. One is, of course, because we're getting to see all the talented listeners who sent in their Talented Tens videos. And also because it marks the end of our fundraiser week. This one was the TBTL-a-thon 11, Let's Stay Together. And it was a really fun week, a really interesting week, and one that we're never going to forget. So I guess let's go ahead and kick things off with Elliot, who sent something in from, I believe, San Diego.
My name is Elliot, and I'm from San Diego. Hi, guys. Or should I say Luke and Andrew. I'm going to play your theme song at the starting of this show. This is what we have so far, so let's do this. Okay. And I did this all by Coated Marshmallows. Ready, set, go. That's all we have so far. Bye, Luke and Andrew.
I love it so much.
Elliot, everybody. That is incredible. Also, by the way, that is how Skrillex got his start. Just so Elliot, reach for the stars. You could be making a lot of money with your DJing skills very soon. Andrew, do you have any idea? You're more the engineer, technical, savvy person in this relationship. Do you have any idea how Elliot did that?
I know it makes me hungry. I know it makes me hungry for science, but I have no idea what's going on there. Can we ask our engineer? We have a real engineer who's helping us out today.
Yes, we do. Our friend Eric Stromstad, hey there, is in St. Paul, Minnesota, running this whole thing for us. But let me first just say, Eric, thank you so much for everything you've done for our show this week. I mean, you're always basically the reason we're getting on the virtual air under normal circumstances, but this week especially. And then thanks for helping out with tonight's show.
Happy to do it.
What's the scene there in St. Paul? What's the weather like? How's it treating you?
It's beautiful weather, and I just realized a little bit ago, and I had to look this up in the last few minutes, we are just barely 4 years away from the American Legion show, June 13th, 2016. I'm only
4 years ago.
4 doors down from that American Legion. And I asked Bear if he wanted to come watch the TBTL talent show on my porch tonight, but he was not interested because he's a little scared of the social distancing. So it's just me tonight, but the American Legion is here in spirit.
Wow. That was 4 years ago, Andrew?
I can't believe it. I mean, the fact that Bear returned your email is amazing. Did you email his partner at the dentistry office?
Oh, no, I just walked down, and he was grilling over there, and I just talked to him. That's the only way to get a hold of him.
Can you imagine if we walked into the Legion, you and I, Andrew, me in my tuxedo, you in your Man of the People outfit? I feel like you'd be a much bigger hit.
Working class hero over here.
Speaking of working on things, we've got some listeners who sent in videos of their talents that I'm sort of putting in the category of hobbies, Andrew, like just you would call this maybe an excuse to putter, but just little skills that these folks have that are quite incredible. Let's take a look at one right now. Let's see Carolyn's video.
Hey friendos, my name is Carolyn Oliver Househalter, and my talent is kumihimo, the art of Japanese braid making. Here on this tray I have a selection of some of my favorite braids. They show the variety of materials and structures that you can make, including braids from all around the world, not just in Japan. I'm braiding today on a wooden stand called a maradai. I'm making a traditional structure which is called shidori gumi, which is a thick flat braid and is made by manipulating these elements around. And this is the resulting braid. And this is the front, one of the sides, and the back. If you're intrigued by kumihimo but don't want one of these wooden stands, there are a variety of foam discs and plates available for you to try on your own relatively inexpensively and portably. Thanks.
That is Carolyn. I don't know if you could see, Andrew, on the footage, it looked as if that braid was even like kind of square.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks so satisfying, not just to do, but to hold.
Yeah, like
right?
the tactile sense of
Yeah.
it. If that is a friendship bracelet, you've made a friend for life.
That's
Carolyn,
right.
because that is next level. I do remember, Andrew, trying to make those kind of like, I know, Carolyn, you're making something much more than a friendship bracelet, but I remember being a kid and trying to make those friendship bracelets you do with, string or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had no aptitude for it whatsoever. I could see you getting into this stuff.
I have been thinking about it. I'm not kidding. Yeah, when I was a kid, my sister showed me how to braid. I don't know if I ever braided anybody's hair, but I remember it seemed like such a magical thing. And then she showed me how you just cross them over, and it suddenly it wasn't that big of a deal. And I remember being a little obsessed with it for a while. I just braid things around the house. You need 3 though.
Yeah, you do. That's the rule with that. I once had
3s.
All of my hair braided, into little individual braids, a la the hip hop act Crisscross.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a truly regrettable look for me, Andrew. I will tell you what, I am so grateful there are no photos. That was before like cell phones and we had pictures of everything. It was an absolutely terrible look. The only reason I did it, and I've talked about this on the podcast, is because I was under the impression that it would eventually morph into being dreadlocks, which would be the only thing worse on me than crisscross braids.
I bet you it felt great.
It was extremely relaxing. My friend Melissa Goodman did it. It took like 4 hours. We watched the movie A Boy and His Dog starring Don Johnson. I remember it like it was yesterday. All right. Speaking of time-consuming projects, that is, let's take a look at something artistic that Kelly did.
My name is Kelly from Vancouver, Washington, and my talent is manicures. That's a cat toy. Go Timbers. Here's what my nails look like before. I did a really good job so they didn't get chipped up too much. So I'm only doing the hand that I'm submitting for my talent.
Reference art.
Supplies. Here it is done, but I don't know. I think there's something. There we go. We've got some holographic glitter. Nala, what do you think? Do you approve? Kingsley, what do you think of my nails? Kingsley?
She's just going around.
Kingsley? Hollow sure is like the tonight pants of this entire manicure. Power out.
That is beautiful. Great work, Kelly. I'm going to tell you something. Looking at those nails, I'm reminded of something that happened to us today, Andrew, which was believe it or not, we didn't get a pro Hollywood like set design team to come in and do this backdrop. We actually did this ourselves. And when I put it up at first, I looked at it in the camera in the monitor and it was all backwards and I freaked out. So then I put it up backwards. And then when we talked to Eric Stromstad and he turned on the real cameras, he was like, no, the cameras turn it around.
Yeah.
And then I had to quickly try to fix it.
And I love how you say we there, because I was sleeping during all of this, and had I been awake and been a true co-bro helping you design this set, I would have told you, I think the camera flips it around, but I was sawing logs, as they say. Is that what they say?
They do say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a part of the upper crust.
Yeah.
I'm a coastal elite.
Sure,
but
yeah.
do they say that when you're out logging and doing other?
It's the type of thing that me and Bear say when we're at the lodge. But
So I was so happy that you took a nap this afternoon, Andrew. I'm being serious because you have been burning the Andrew at both ends. This whole week, there's been the radio show that we've been doing, and then there have been the Zoom hangouts, which have been so much fun. And then there's just been coordinating a million small things. And I am usually just kind of like wandering around the house going, do you need help with something?
Mhm.
And you're usually saying, no, I think I got it. This was like the one time where I was actually doing something while you were relaxing, and I did it backwards. I did it the opposite way that it was supposed to happen. But
I appreciate you saying that. You've been putting in tons of work, and I do appreciate this. This is absolutely beautiful.
yes, it is. Okay. We are moving into what I'm considering the sort of musical portion of the talent show. We had a lot of people send in various musical selections. Let's start with one that I really loved. Let's check out what Amy did. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Didn't she call that like pandrumic?
Pandrumic is the name of that. That was one of the first videos that came in, and I knew this was going to be a special night when I saw that video.
Yeah, it made me so happy. I had dreams of being a drummer when I was a kid. I actually got one of those like rubber, like there's a kind of a rubber pad that you can hit with drumsticks. I remember vividly an episode of The Muppets where I guess one of the guests was like good at drumming. I don't know. Maybe it was Phil Collins. I don't even remember who the drummer was. I remember somebody was walking around the back of the set behind the stage in the Muppets drumming things. And I just was like, that is the coolest thing ever. I got one of those pads. I was so bad at drumming. For me, it's like trying to pat your head and rub your stomach. My brain can barely do one thing at a time, as the listeners and viewers of this know, let alone trying to do all of that different stuff.
Yeah, me too. I'm just terrible at it. Sometimes I'll like try to just tap something out with my hands and I can't do it. I will say though, you're a young person and
Thank you.
You're one is a young person and one sees a rock and roll drummer or something along those lines on television and you say, I want to do that. And the first thing the adults say is, good, practice on this hard rubber first. I mean, you got to really want to drum for that to pay off.
I had a phase where I was trying to, this is, by the way, this is not even Parenting 101. This is like, what's before that? This is you flunked out of Parenting 101 and you're just trying to get back into the community college. I wanted Addie to become a drummer and got her a drum kit. No parents ever do that because it's usually like you're never going to sleep again.
And it didn't take? She wasn't into it?
She was into it for like a week, and then I was looking on Craigslist and I saw she was selling it.
You should have.
That's a very difficult way to learn that your daughter is selling the drum set that you got her. Third party by way of Craigslist.
Should have gotten her a rubber brick, I guess.
Yes, that would have squelched the impulse. All right, let's keep it in the music category here and take a look at what Margaret sent in.
Hi, my name is Margaret. This is 5'2", Eyes of Blue. 5'2", eyes of blue. Oh, what those 5 foot could do. Has anybody seen my gal? Turned up nose, turned down hose, so one of those. Has anybody seen my gal? Now if you run into a 5'2", all covered with fur, diamond rings and all those things, bet your life it isn't her. But could she love, could she woo, could she coo? Has anybody seen my gal? Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
So great.
Adorable from Margaret. We usually don't play songs, and I try not to listen to songs that say hose. I just feel like it's not a good way to talk about things, but I think it may be a different context from that song. That sounds like a song that could be like a barbershop quartet.
I love it. Did you know that song before you heard Margaret play it?
Yeah, I've heard that song. Did you know it?
I did not, but I feel like it's missing one thing.
Okay.
Drums.
Margaret, get together with Amy, and we'll build a golden bridge.
That's right.
My dad was in a barbershop quartet.
No.
Did you know that? Yes, absolutely.
Your dad, the sign maker, was in a barbershop quartet during his off time.
He contains multitudes.
Oh my
gosh. Walt B. No, he's got a beautiful singing voice.
That's wonderful.
And he was in a cappella group. There was like a real real baby on board situation. And I remember we went down to like one of the like arenas down in the Seattle Center area, and it was barbershop quartets for days. It was like all Seattle or state of Washington barbershop quartet off.
What did he submit then for the TBTL talent show?
He did 5 foot 2 eyes of blue, but I told him that Margaret was better at it.
Yeah.
Speaking of dads, is your dad actually watching this right now, Andrew?
I don't know. I sent him a link. He said he was going to try. If so, Dad, look, I'm still wearing the shirt. This shirt, by the way, is the shirt that I wore when I worked for my dad at Walsh Manufacturing. And I think it's from college, maybe high school, but certainly it's as old as when I worked there in college. And I still have it. It's still in pretty good shape. I actually like it. It's pretty flattering.
Yeah, no, it's a good looking shirt. I had one like that when I worked at a plumbing company, and it made me so happy. I felt like I just was... I don't know. I had a purpose. This actually was the tuxedo that my dad gave me when we worked at the sign business. My dad's a very, very formal sign painter, and you'll never catch him in anything less than a tux and tails as he does the lettering on the side of a burrito stand. All right, let's keep it musical here and check out what listener Ruby sent in.
When you see the storm is coming, see the lightning part the skies, it's too late to run, there's terror in your eyes. What you do then is remember this old thing you heard me say. It's the storm, not you, that's bound to blow away. Hold on, the night will soon be by. Until you get through, child, oh child, hold on.
Wow,
that's beautiful.
Not a dry eye on YouTube. People are coming over from other YouTube channels. People are watching people do some BS on some other channel. They're like, wait, I hear something. I hear the beautiful voice of listener Ruby. Do you know that song?
No, right now I was going to say Post Malone. It's like, where are all my viewers going? No, I don't. Did you look it up? I meant to. We're probably the only two people involved here who don't know what that is.
I'm going to tell you what happened. I assume the song was called Hold On because that seems to be the overriding characteristic. By the way, Ruby, unbelievable, beautiful singing. I know that, though, because I've hung out at the Mandarin Gate with you. I've heard the pipes. The pipes. I Googled Hold On song, and it just... The problem is Wilson Phillips really dominates that space.
That's what I was going to say.
And then I just was like, I don't have time to scroll through all of the Wilson Phillips related content to get to the origin of that song. But that, Ruby, was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sending that in. All right. We are going to move into what I'm calling, Andrew, the skills division.
Okay.
I should mention, too, by the way, that there are no winners or losers during this TBTL talent show, only winners. That is, it's not a contest. When we conceived of this, was there any conversation around this being something that was like a competition, or was it always just to highlight the talent of the tens?
I think it was to highlight the talent of the tens. It's certainly not a competition, but this might be a good time to mention that we did get quite a few submissions, and we simply, for technical purposes and for time reasons, couldn't use them all. And that was really tough. I mean, we literally had to I guess cut, for lack of a better word, although I really wanted to find a better one. We had to choose from various children.
And just the way that a parent chooses which children they love the most.
I mean,
in that classic way, we had to do the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, there are children who submitted things that unfortunately we were not able to fit in. So I want you to know they are all beautiful, and we will be posting them all on the YouTube page in the coming years.
Yes. If you sent something,
days,
Andrew,
weeks.
you're very have you ever uploaded anything to YouTube? It takes like 4 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I jump in here?
Eric, please
You
do.
mentioned
Yes,
parents.
Eric
I'm watching the
came from St.
comments,
Paul.
and one Robert Walsh is watching this tonight.
Oh, fantastic! And
Oh
he's
my-
commenting.
He is commenting.
Are you just seeing? Oh my gosh, Andrew, how are you feeling, my friend?
What's he saying, Eric?
This is the least efficient way to get this information.
I'll read his
Why am I
comment.
sweating?
He says, yes, we are watching. You guys are great, exceeded only by your wonderful guest talent.
Is that a typical Bob Walsh answer? Extremely diplomatic.
It definitely is. I can hear Bob in that.
All
Hi,
right.
Dad.
Hi, Dad. Your dad is my dad now because I don't think my dad is watching right
And
now.
that's how things got weird.
My dad's off polishing his tuxedo like the fancy lad that he is. All right. This is the skills division. These are people with amazing skills. Let's start off with listener Jackie.
Hi, my name's Jackie, and for the TBTL talent contest, I decided to do self-taught locksmithery. Let's meet our opponents. We've got this big black lock. Oh, that one was no problem. We've got this gold lock, which you won't see on screen, but was actually a 20-minute struggle that I cut out. My original plan was to pick 3 locks in 1 minute, but it turns out it takes me at least 5 minutes to pick 3 locks and around 40 if I'm taping it.
A lot of pressure. We get it.
I tried to keep the noise of the lock pinging open because it's a very satisfying noise.
That's some ASMR.
Yeah.
Look at that. Opponents vanquished.
I love it.
So good from Jackie. I could not be trusted with that skill set, Andrew.
Yeah. Do you know the first time I met Barbara Bogave? I don't know if everybody knows who Barbara Bogave is, but
I bet nobody knows.
She's a public radio host. She's hosted Fresh Air before, Luke. People know who Barbara Bogave is. She's a public radio host, and the first time I met her, I was new at KCRW, and she was filling in on Warren Olney's show, and she was wandering around the tiny, tiny newsroom fiddling with something, and I'd never talked to her before. I was starstruck by the fact that it was Barbara Bogave, despite you negging her here.
I just didn't think there was going to be as much Bogave in this TBTL talent show that we're live streaming to literally hundreds of Bob Walshes.
You feel threatened by her fame. Now I understand it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Did she pour herself into a monkey suit tonight and put a ring light up to please these people? No, that's what I've been doing. Thank you very much.
But what I will say is I knew it was her because I had heard her voice earlier. I was a little bit starstruck. We were the only ones in the newsroom, and she was just kind of circling the newsroom, fiddling with something. And I finally said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm learning how to pick locks." And she had a little practice lock that was transparent, and you could see the mechanism.
Tumblers.
Yes, it was fascinating.
But I mean, again, I'm glad that Jackie knows how to do this. I'm glad that public radio luminary Barbara Bogave knows how to do it. If I knew how to do this, forget it. I'd get out of this podcast game immediately, and I'd become one of the world's leading crooks. Yep. I would be cat burgling left and right. It's just the fact that I don't know how to pick a lock.
Yeah, you could be like an art thief, and then who was it? Listener
Laura
in
Texas.
I think. Yeah,
sure.
And then she could write about you someday.
Yes. I when I was a kid. Now, when this is sort of an exercise that a lot of people have done. When you have when you're a kid and they say, if you could have the power of being invisible or the power of flight, what would you choose?
Well. Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't asking me.
Well, no, we'll start with you.
Mine's complicated because if I could fly, I'd like to know if that means I'm no longer afraid of heights.
Oh,
it's like this whole thing. Like if that means, I'm no longer afraid of heights, then that's awesome. But if I'm still afraid of heights, then why would I want to fly?
Yeah, that'd just be terrifying.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be invisible because I just wanted to steal things.
Wow.
That was it. I was just like, think about, but of course my conception of what I was going to steal at that age was pretty lame. I was like, think about the Nerf footballs. I could get one in every color. I could get the turbo, the one that has like the weird kind of screw shape to it. Yeah. I was like, Nerf footballs for days for invisible burbs.
You'd work your way up there. You'd eventually get a power glove.
Speaking of physical feats, by the way, our next category.
Sorry,
breaking news.
The commenters are telling me I have to break in. Your parents are watching as well, Luke. We have Walter.
Oh my God.
He is commenting, and he says, "Mom's there too."
Oh my gosh!
Who
Okay,
sent them the link?
Dad, whoever told you that I was saying that Andrew's dad is my dad, I wasn't saying that. You were on the wrong YouTube feed. I have been totally loyal to you and your tuxedo culture the whole time. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you. Sorry I missed the family Zoom meeting this week. I was here doing this. All right. But speaking of physical feats, let's take a look at some amazing. Remember on the Zoom call yesterday, we had a listener check in from Magnolia in the Seattle area. And she and her husband had gone downstairs at this house they had bought. It was an old farmhouse. And they had found behind a wall a bathroom that was like walled off. And the window of the bathroom looked out at siding. Like this was a bathroom that time forgot that had been sealed in like Al Capone's vault style. And they found a magazine in there. And what the name of the magazine was?
I remember that it was a fitness magazine from the old times. I know that it addressed both constipation and alcoholism, but I cannot remember the name of it.
Physical Culture was the name of the magazine that the listener found in her secret bathroom. We're going to go into the physical culture division of this talent show and start off by checking out listener Aaron.
Good. Oh, sit.
Sit, Ubu, sit. I like how the dog is more interested in the camera than in the human being who is completely defying gravity for now going on 30 seconds or so.
Yay.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
Wow. That was I think we had that time.
About 30 seconds of handstandery. What is how long of a handstand can you do, Andrew?
A negative 10 minutes, Luke. I've never done a handstand in my life.
Really? Not even when you were a young lad?
Can't do a cartwheel.
How hard have you tried?
I think when I was a young lad, as you say,
yes,
put on a tuxedo, and suddenly we're saying young lad.
The key is keeping your monocle in while you do the cartwheel. I think that's the hard part.
I don't know if I ever tried a cartwheel, but I certainly think when I was young, I tried to do handstands, probably with the help of, I don't know, cousins or holding me up. Never was able to do one.
I was very into all things gymnastic as a kid. Like I didn't ever go to any real classes, but I was just into, and my parents who are now watching, again, love you. I used to like drag out all kinds of cushions and pillows and try to make like, a rudimentary like foam pit to do my little moves. But I was really into trying to do handstands and walk on your hands and go as far as you could. I don't think at this point I can hold up my body weight, with my arms like that. I don't think that's even possible.
I mean, frankly, my legs are pretty mad at me at this point.
Your legs would also like a break.
Yes.
But it turns out that's just how it's going to have to work for you for a while. All right. In the physical culture division, let's keep things going and take a look at listener Amanda.
I'm Amanda from Bonnie Lake, Washington. And my talent, I don't even want to call it a talent, I guess. My passion is dance fitness. And in the before times, I used to do classes in a studio, but now I am stuck doing classes on Zoom. And so this last weekend we were actually camping, and I asked my husband to videotape me a little bit doing these classes.
Whole video.
And
That's
here
my
is
favorite
my passion.
That
is awesome.
Is incredible. At what appears to be a campsite.
I have never been that free in my life.
That is that is a commitment to fitness for Amanda to do that out in the open. But by the way, you look great doing it. Like you obviously have the rhythm down. You're committed. It's like a whole thing. I salute you. But yeah, I can't even talk on a cell phone at like normal volume when I'm around other people I don't know.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's where my self-esteem is.
exactly. There have been times where you and I together are walking on the street trying to tape a Hey Dummies video, and we're so self-conscious about it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate not just the dancing, but the self-confidence to put that out there.
But also, I think it was mildly mortifying to Amanda, which is why when she said videotape,
I know.
that was so charming. I love that. Thank you so much, Amanda, for sending that in, and keep up the good work. All right. Again, in the physical culture department, let's take a look at the video that Julie submitted.
Hey, Luke and Andrew and the Tens. This is Julie from Monroe, Washington, and I'm going to do a little bit of ballet for the TBTL talent show. So here goes.
Okay, I found something harder than handstands. That is up on the toes, up on points, I believe, Andrew. They would call that.
My calves hurt.
Just watching. That was a vaguely nutcracker.
Thanks for having me. Power out.
That's so good. That is like, I don't even want to know how many years of training go into something like that.
Yeah. Now I take
Like
it
probably more than like 6 months, don't you think?
You've tried drumming before.
Mhm.
You've tried handstands.
Yeah.
I believe you had your hair braided, which is a little bit
Sure.
different. Have you ever tried ballet?
I've never tried ballet. Well, that's not true. I very briefly did ballet for a TV story at the Pacific Northwest Ballet.
Of course, you have.
Where I was a mouse for like 30 seconds. I was supposed to run on stage and spin around in a production of the Nutcracker. The story on that was I basically pitched my TV bosses back in New York about doing a story where I would dance this very easy. The Pacific Northwest Ballet for years had this role that they would sort of set aside for local quasi celebrities. And it would be the role of the grandfather in a dance scene. But the grandfather did not know what was going on. So it played well if you didn't know what was going on, which of course I didn't. But after I pitched it to my bosses at CBS and they said that'd be a great story, I got in touch with the ballet and they mentioned that they had canceled that role the year before. It was no longer a thing they were doing. And but if I wanted to, I could try to be a actual real dancer playing this. I don't know if it was a rat or a mouse, but some kind of rodent. And I was supposed to run out and spin around 3 times and run off stage. And I got so dizzy in the 3 spins that I ran basically the wrong direction off stage. So yes, I have done ballet, Andrew, and yes, it was as bad as you would have imagined.
Was the rat's name Chuck by any chance?
I don't think the rat had a name.
Last name Cheese?
Charles Cheese?
Charles?
Please. Charles Cheese was my father. Call me Pasquale.
I'm the Pasquale to your Chuck E. Cheese.
I love it. High five yourself if you got that joke from the TBTL universe. All right, let's keep things rolling here. By moving into the pets division, we got a lot of submissions from people with their pets, of pets doing cute things. You know we love that stuff, and we want to play some of them now. Let's start off with listener Laurel.
Hi, friendos. I'm Laurel, a Wisconsin. Here's my talented dog, Ursula. Come. Ursie, lunch meat.
I'm already in for the
Urs can
baby in the
sit,
hat.
and she can chill. But her biggest talent is waiting. Urs, you have to wait. This is Luna. She's 6 months old, so she doesn't have any talents. But she's pretty cute. Are you still waiting?
The hat is
She
paper
can eat it when I say the magic word. The magic word isn't, oh boy. Nope. The magic word isn't Oakland, California. The magic word isn't okra. The magic word is okay. That's my talented dog.
So good.
I love that.
So good. Andrew, by the end of this week, and I guess even maybe just by the end of tonight, you're gonna adopt a dog, right? Like you're
maybe yours.
Honestly, take her. She is in a shedding phase now. I've talked about it endlessly on the show, and even on TV. I have done whole commentaries about her shedding. It has moved into a category that it may be, science may need to study her. She may have the cure for hair loss trapped in her 65 pounds because she's shedding like a maniac. If you want that in your life, Andrew, by all means.
Can you try putting the laser baldness helmet on Rudy? Have you
I don't
tried
dare.
it?
No, that'd be like when you dump a bunch of Mentos into Coke. It would be that of hair. She would expand probably to the size of the city of Fife, which would be dangerous for everybody. All right. Continuing on in the pets department, let's take a look at Cynthia's dog, Nitro.
Hello, Nitro. Can you ring the bell? Oh, thank you. Can you practice your piano? Oh, play the piano. That was nice. Play another song. I'll play a different song. Oh. Okay, ring that bell. Oh, good boy. And play your piano. Very nice.
There you go.
Very nice. Was that, now that was jazz, right?
I don't know. You're the one that was playing Money Jungle last night, so you're the official jazz connoisseur.
Did you
of
like
this
it?
franchise. I did actually.
Yeah,
I really did. Although it's interesting to me because you said, and that's is that Thelonious Monk? Who is
No,
that?
it's Charles Mingus, Max Roach on drums, and Duke Ellington.
Wow. See, you don't know Nicole Kidman, but you know from jazz, my friend.
I have some of her records.
You put you put that
She
on.
can hit that high C.
Oh yeah. Well, she's no.
Now I'm
She's no Roy Donk.
no Roy Donk.
She so last night Andrew and I were sitting in the other room and we were kind of like sort of trying to get some stuff done, and he puts on his "Let's Get to Work" music, which is this, I would say, fairly avant-garde jazz called the album is called Money Jungle.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, you know, it's, I would say it's sort of at times arrhythmic and at times not atonal, but just like it's would you consider it to be somewhat experimental?
No, I think it's straight up bebop.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know what bebop is then. I liked it, but it would not have been the thing that I would put on to work. But I found it to be nice. I enjoyed it.
It is the record that I don't remember exactly how this happened, but going back to KCRW, did I mention that Barbara Bogave used to work
Never
there?
heard of her.
She's amazing. Good friend of mine.
She's doing 6 to 12 and Sing Sing.
You're jealous
for lock picking. Aggravated.
But we did work in very, very small quarters at KCRW back then, and there's a lot going on, and you'd have to be writing a script or what have you, and so I needed to block things out. So I'd put on these headphones, maybe these exact headphones. No, that would imply that I stole them from KCRW.
Now you're going to be doing 6 to 12
Yeah.
in KCRW jail.
But exactly these style headphones, I'd put them on, and I needed something I could listen to. And I believe the full album of Money Jungle is on YouTube, or at least it was at one point. And so that was just always what I would listen to. And as I was doing it, because I was also on a deadline, I thought, by the way, that we will get back to the talent show in a minute.
Maybe.
I just never have a moment where I can tell stories like these. So
Yeah.
this is a good outlet for me. But I would always listen to Money Jungle, and I thought, oh no, what's going to happen is I'm going to associate this record with deadlines so much that I'll never want to listen to it again. But thankfully, that's not the case. It's still the record I listen to when I want to get some writing done, but it's also the record I listen to when we're sitting on the porch.
I had a sort of playlist that I would listen to when I worked at a radio station years ago, that I would have my headphones on because, again, you're cutting audio a lot at your desk, which is the nice thing about working in radio. You can wear headphones and people think you're working, even if you're just listening, like I was, to the song Circles by Soul Coughing. The problem was I had downloaded it from, it was either LimeWire or Kazaa. And so it had Easter eggs in it.
In the song.
In the song. At some point, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember file sharing in those days, but sometimes you could download a song. And by the way, kids, don't do this. It's not technically legal, but, and then sometimes they'd put like a little weird sound or something in the song to kind of basically be a poison pill. It was supposed to make it so you wouldn't listen to the song. I just powered through. For years, I listened to a version of Circles by Soul Coughing with like a weird in like 3 different places in the song. And I was just like, this is what I'm doing right now.
I'll bet you if that song came on the radio now, you would be so braced for that sound. You'd
Yes.
feel weird if it didn't happen.
Very Pavlovian, indeed. Operational conditioning. We've talked about the music category. We've talked about the pets category. This is a video that really combines the two disciplines. This is sent in by, we have Doris the singing dog and Anika on the piano. Take a look.
Wrong note.
Everybody turn your computers on the side. That was actually pretty good.
That is pretty good. Now let me ask you this: better or worse than Money Jungle?
Better or worse, or more or less cute than the Tom Hanks scene in Big, where he and Robert Loggia have to dance the Heart and Soul song on that giant piano.
Good question. Or better or worse?
I know where
than...
you're going with this. High five if you know where Andrew's going with this.
The parody of that on the show Patriot, when they have to do the same thing.
Patriot takes the cake, but Anika and Doris take a very, very close second. Honestly, I feel like Doris hit a couple of those notes.
Yes, I think so.
You know what I mean?
And the one thing that I noticed in watching that, I don't have a dog. I've never mentioned that on the show before, but I don't have a dog of my own.
Yeah,
I never
You're
really
gonna come home when
much.
we leave this undisclosed location and find Rudy in a basket in front of your house, like the way they used to drop off orphans.
Yeah, or but what was I gonna? I forgot what I was
Perfect
going to say.
pitch.
I was gonna say that I've seen dogs do that before, and I thought that maybe it was like a stress, like whatever noise is happening, that they're having a stress reaction. But clearly, that dog is not stressed out. That dog is more chill than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks for sending it in, you guys. We have another animal-related submission, but it's proof that it's not just dogs that are super cute. Let's take a look at what listener Farron submitted. This is Maggie the bunny.
Trying to do a full 360 here. Got a quarter of the way through.
Oh my God.
Come on. One more time.
Get out of there, cat. I've had enough of your crap.
Good enough.
Wow.
Wow.
That was
You'll get there. Keep trying.
What would you call that? That was like a 220? How far around did Maggie the bunny get?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, what's half of 90? I think 90 degrees there.
90 maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, cats and rabbits living together. What do you make of that? That would make me nervous.
My guess would be, and maybe listener Farron will clarify with us at some point, but my feeling would be you would need to have the rabbit first.
Yes,
don't you think?
I think you're right. Yes, I do.
Like you kind of need the rabbit to be the sort of alpha, and then you bring a kitten in, and then the kitten, because I feel like if you have a cat and you just bring a rabbit in, it's a bad scene. Yeah. Meanwhile, what we did with the dog and cat was we had the dog and then got the cat, but the cat was a kitten.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the right way to do that as well, because that they got along, and they still get along pretty famously. Although, as I've said many times on the podcast, there is what I consider the circle of negging in our household, which is that the dog is obsessed with us, and we're like a lot of times kind of want the dog to leave us alone. We're obsessed with the cat. The cat's not into us. The cat's obsessed with the dog, who doesn't really want anything to do with it.
Where does the snake fit into this?
The snake we haven't seen for probably 8 months. Those of you who listen to the show know that I did. Unfortunately, I found a snake in the house that the cat had brought in. Instead of catching it and throwing it back outside, I tried to make a video of it. And in that time, it snuck into the baseboard and has never been seen since.
But it does sound like the snake is the most aloof.
Definitely, the snake has opted out of the circle of negging. The snake is above all. The snake is in 2 tuxedos right now, doubled up.
2 very long tuxedos.
Okay. We're moving into a category that I'm calling funny, funky things. These are maybe if it was a David Letterman show, we might call some of them stupid human tricks.
Mhm.
These were just odd things, Andrew, that absolutely struck our fancy, starting with a listener, Kate in Chicago.
Hey guys, this is listener Katie from Chicago, and unfortunately, this is my talent. I will be performing the Razzle Dazzle Donor Song.
Ellie's dancing in New York.
Power out.
Jazz hands.
So good. Did you see the look on listener Katie's face right as she ended the call? Did you see that? It was like just the tiniest glint in her eye of like, did I just do that? Did I just submit that to them to play on YouTube for hundreds of parents?
I think my favorite talents are the ones where people are ashamed of them.
Absolutely. Anytime they say, unfortunately, my talent is, I know that this is something that I am extremely there for.
Yep.
Can you know, what's funny, Andrew, is we're like hosting this talent show, and it's obviously to highlight the listeners, but at no point did you and I even consider us sort of performing some kind of talent. Do you have any kind of talent?
If so, I would have shoehorned it in here. Like, I love talking about myself, but
magic
I
tricks. You
couldn't
never
think
did
of
anything like that as a kid?
No magic tricks, of course. I mean, you know that I did win the. Well, I didn't win. I came in second place in the, I believe, third or I'm going to say sixth grade talent show for my lip syncing of the California Raisins version.
Heard it through the grapevine.
Heard it through the grapevine, which isn't really their version. It's just
Marvin
the original
Gaye,
version.
I believe.
Yeah, but I lip synced it, and I had three, I believe, backup dancers. We were all dressed in garbage bags like the California Raisins. My head was
upon hard times.
Yeah.
That was when the California Raisins were doing less well later on,
Yes.
dressed in garbage bags.
My head was out of the garbage bag so that I could lip sync the song, and I would just kind of like, I was, kind of crooning around up there. I had these backup dancers. They were fully inside the garbage bags, which is how you know it was the 1980s.
Right, because the parents in the audience were like, this seems safe.
Yeah, they were also smoking.
Yeah, right. The kids. I only did one lip sync at a talent show, and it was in either 7th or 8th grade. And it was when the band Cheap Trick did a cover of the Elvis song, Don't Be Cruel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I didn't know it was an Elvis Presley song. I just thought, this Cheap Trick, they've got another hit with Don't Be Cruel. So it was a big radio hit when I was in middle school. And I was very excited. We got out there, we did the song, but it was a gong show style, Andrew, meaning
Wow, that's rough.
if you got gonged, yeah, right? Again, like where you were, they're like putting you in plastic bags and smoking cigarettes. Where I was, it was just the cruelty of the student body. And if you got, if the people on stage gonged you, there was like a panel of people. If they gonged you, then you were done. Well, I got about a minute and a half into my song, and friggin' Eric Trout threw a shoe from the back of the sanctuary. This was a Christian school, from the back of the sanctuary, and it hit the gong, and they made me get off stage.
Wow.
I felt like that was an unfair gonging.
It was an unfair gonging.
Yeah.
Didn't have the right to gong you.
Well, Eric, how's your YouTube talent show going?
Yeah.
Mr. Gong
Look
to me.
at this. Look
Mhm.
where you are now.
Look
Luke.
at all this. You ain't really fricked with me way back then, but how about now?
Do you have any idea how many times that thing would have been gonged if we let the listeners gong us?
We turned that function off on this YouTube feed, and I believe it was the right call.
Eric, we have the gong off, right? Good.
All right. Let's keep the funny, funky things going. And in the funny category, we have a video from Langley.
Langley?
Hi, my name's Langley, and today I'm going to tell TBTL a joke. Here goes. What do you call an egg with no hair?
I don't know. What do you call an egg with no hair, Langley?
Scrambled.
Ah.
That, of course, is Langley, who often starts off our show with the jokes that she leaves on our voicemail line.
Where's she getting those jokes from? They're very good.
I assume that she writes them herself.
Scrambled eggs.
That's right. Yes. By the way, the reason I am wearing a hat is because I am scrambled, as we realized when the cameras came on today.
This is not the time for us to really talk about this, Andrew, because we're trying to do the talent show. We're trying to highlight the listeners. But I've observed something as your friend and trusted confidant that I think you're more bummed out about being bald than you've led on previously. Because you have said to me before, I don't really care about it. It's not a big deal one way or the other. Who cares? But as we've been doing millions of these like video things, there's always a moment where we turn on the computer and we see ourselves, and you always comment upon it.
Well, I don't like seeing myself. I've never liked seeing myself, even when I had hair. But yeah, I don't traverse the world thinking I don't want somebody to see that I'm bald. I don't wear a hat all the time because of that. I don't like looking at it myself. And when we're doing these video things, whether it's a Zoom or looking at the feed here, it really distracts me to see that mess. So yeah, in that instance, I will admit that I don't love it, but it's not like I still am not somebody who would think like, oh, I got to solve this balding problem. I got other problems I got to solve first.
Are you worried that your dad doesn't know that you've lost your hair and that he's finding out
Dad
on the mean streets of YouTube? Bob, I'm so sorry.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's get to another talent submitted in the fun, funky things category. This is, well, I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say this was one of my favorite videos that came in. It is from young listener Asher.
Hi, I'm Asher Bush from Mrs. Myers' first grade class, and I'm going to play the ukulele.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Come on. Put Asher and Elliot together, the child prodigies that they are, the kid on the marshmallows and the kid on the ukulele, and you've got Hanson too.
We were saying we can't even play the drums. We can't get our two hands. He's playing everything. He's playing the drums, two ukuleles, and you see he's wearing headphones in one of those shots because he has to hear himself for the first track you lay down.
And also he looks very dapper, Andrew.
Yes.
Look, he's, pulling, I think, what we call a burbs.
Yeah.
No one calls it that.
Nope, and nor will they.
All right, we are at the last video of the show. Again, if you happen to send us a video and we just didn't have time for it, we are going to put all those videos up on this same YouTube channel, so you'll be able to see yourself. We've already been using some of the audio from the submissions as part of the actual TBTL podcast broadcast, so do not despair if you sent us something. We appreciate it so much, and there were so many awesome things that just we did not have time for. I don't know, send them to America's Funniest People.
Yeah.
Maybe Alfonso Ribeiro has lower standards than us. I don't know.
Is that really a show? America's Funniest People? Still a
It
thing?
used to be America's Funniest Home Videos,
Uh-huh.
and now I believe it's called America's Funniest People.
Really? Oh.
And it's hosted by Carlton from The Fresh Prince.
I think that they should have stuck with home videos. I know it's dated, but there's something charming about that.
I will tell you, Andrew, that if it is a Sunday night and I am changing the channel, and I go past America's Funniest People or America's Funniest Videos, whatever it is now, whatever its new name is, I will stop and I will watch it, and I will be genuinely delighted.
I've heard, I've heard other people say that. You know who loved it? Barbara Bogave. Huge fan. Probably was watching it before you, actually.
Well, that's the end of our show. I'm sorry. I've got to cut it off early. Sorry to our last participants. But Andrew has shown that we can't trust him with a microphone and a Walsh Manufacturing shirt. All right, let's play our last video. This one comes from actually a foursome of people: Kelly, Kristen, Lisa, Trisha, and Lorraine.
Tenderly, with 1,000 drops in our heads, we cannot make it stop. Our fights just sit back inside while we listen each day. They just don't get why. I was listening to TBTL, became a tale.
That's
My
right.
Goodness.
Thank you so much to Kelly, Kristen, Lisa, Trisha, and Lorraine. They did the version they did originally that was like 4 minutes long. It was the full song. Just to keep things fair as you squares, we had to cut it down to a minute. But we were very glad that, among other things, Kelly's fake saxophone got in there because that's a real highlight of that video.
That's right. I will say, actually, we asked them to cut it down, and they did. And while we were reviewing the final version, before you hit play on the 1 minute version, you said, please let the saxophone be represented in this. And it is. So good job.
The overall kind of theme, if you will, the narrative arc of that video, well, it's the In Excess song, Never Tear Us Apart. They've changed the lyrics to be about TBTL, which is so sweet of you guys. Thank you for doing that. But really what it seems to be is their families very much wish they didn't like the show as much as they do.
Yes.
It's like there's a scene where these kids are being told they're going to go to Seattle, and they're excited, but then they learn it's to see TBTL, and they're very bummed.
Yes. And now they're being dragged into a video, which is probably going to make them like the podcast a lot more by my calculations.
That's usually how that works.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That's going to do it. That is
so
the
sweet.
end of the first ever TBTL Tens Talent Show. Thank you for hanging out with us. Eric Stromstad back there in St. Paul. Thank you so much thanks for playing the videos for us. Thanks for helping us put this whole thing together. Thanks for also letting me know my parents were watching before I said anything truly hurtful. And really and truly, thanks to all of you for being part of the TBTL-a-thon this week. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That hit me.
I'm so sorry. Did we get that? I just about killed Andrew. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.
These headphones saved me. Are we doing this?
Yes, we are.
Oh, look at this.
We're just doing a little.
You are? Boy, you're really into the whole the tuxedo thing.
I am.
Am I allowed to wear it? I'm sorry, am I allowed to drink this?
Yes, you are.
Dressed as I am?
Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much for being
much.
part of the show, and thanks for helping us make this week possible. And keep doing this until episode 10,000. Thanks. Stay safe. Take care of each other, and we'll see you very soon.
Stay tuned for MacGyver.